A woman says women don't have anything a man actually wants that we can bring to the table. A woman says women don't have anything a man actually wants that we can bring to the table. I'm gonna play this clip, and she says it's on the back end. I know we typically have the conversation that she speak about on the front end, but just kind of give pay attention to the back end of it.
Marry anymore because the risk outweighs the benefits. There's a risk that comes with marriage that essentially only benefits a woman. A man marries you and can only hope that one day you don't wake up and say, I feel like I don't love you anymore and I want to leave and you can't do anything about it. According to ASA, 70 to 80% of divorces are initiated by women. Among college educated women, it jumps to 90%. You know what's crazy? I mean, a lot of us women don't have anything a man actually wants that we can bring to the table.
Go ahead and start with Cam on this one. Who was that? Somebody said something?
Somebody's hurt feelings are going to be feeling like hurt feelings report after this one.
Okay. All right, I'm going to start with you, Cam. What are your thoughts?
I like it. I agree with her. You know, again, if we look at the numbers, like she said, you know, women do leave, and it is college educated women because usually they, you know, use that degree as their, you know, fallback plan as to why they, you know, can leave the marriage and won't need him, which is why they, you know, like to come for stay-at-home moms because they have this assumption that she doesn't have any money and she's like mind controlled. So I definitely agree with her. Again, you know, women have this idea that, you know, being college educated or having a degree negates the need for a man. And I think that it's because they're looking at it just strictly from a financial standpoint. And, you know, if you know, look at it more than that, men are much more than their wallet. They're so much more than, you know, the income that they can bring to you. And I think if we start honing in on more so the importance of men, that would, you know, help. Or also, too, to change the narrative to college educated women, because me, you know, I'm in medical school, so I'm going to be a doctor, but I never would, you know, use that or hang that up against, you know, my husband or anything like that, because again, this is like my own personal thing that I wanted to do for me. It has nothing to do, you know, with the income or anything like that, because, you know, I don't plan on, again, solely providing or even just, you know, just putting my career to use that as the one up on my husband, basically.
Okay. Balancing codes. What are your thoughts about
it? Wow. So this is, yeah. All right. So the best way I'm going to say this really quick, because I am cooking, but it says women don't bring anything to the table. Like, that's the same thing as you saying men don't bring anything to the table. Like, I just, it's ridiculous to me. All women aren't created equal. All men aren't created equal. We have different things that we bring to the table. I will say she also was talking about men don't benefit from marriage, or she was saying there's no benefits for men with marriage. I think that's what she said. I was kind of multitasking, but I will say the children, marriage benefits the children. I don't know how many different ways I could say that. Like, people are really weird. I don't like, marriage benefits the children, and marriage benefits the two people who desire marriage and who desire to marry each other. So it's really sad when we take a few of these bad situations and broadcast it and then say there's no point to marriage. It's no good. Like, it's really sickening. And you're gonna see this in the media. You're gonna see this on social media, because of course there's an agenda to break our families apart. I don't care what anybody else is talking about. Obviously that's what's playing out and that's what's happening. And then you have young women like this, because of what they've seen and heard and been programmed over and over and over, coming on YouTube and other spaces, just saying regurgitated things like there's no benefit. I mean, honestly, there is a benefit. and if we could say it fails for 50% of people, okay, well, 50% of people are staying successfully married and they're having families, and successful children are coming from these marriages and these families. So how are we going to sit here and say there's no benefit to marriage? It's silly. If it didn't work for you, it didn't work for you. You're not the population. You're not everyone. You're not society. So, I mean, it's sad that we keep hearing this same regurgitated nonsense over and over and over. Obviously, there is a benefit to marriage. So also she was talking about how men don't benefit. There are men personally that I know that are still married, that have been married for a very long time, and they would beg to differ. They would beg to differ. They will definitely tell you the benefits of their marriage, the benefits of their wife, the benefits of having home cooked meals, of somebody making their doctor's appointments, somebody loving them, caring for them, rubbing their back, their feet, helping, bringing something financially to the table. Like, there are a lot of benefits to teamwork. So I think if you come together and you know how to build a marriage properly, I think there are some beautiful benefits to both parties involved. So I'm going to leave it there.
Okay. All right, Jay, what are your thoughts about it, sir?
I think women have what you have. You know what I mean? And depending on the woman that you chose, she can multiply that. So, to start off with, she has what you have, meaning if you have a purpose, then she is in that purpose with you. Meaning if you have nothing, then she has nothing with you. I mean, most men aren't looking at women for any financial, it's like, okay, you got 50,000 in the bank, then we got, most men aren't calculating women's pockets or what they actually have. You want to verify how they can multiply what you have, so she has what you have. And depending on how that woman was brought up, determines if she's going to be able to multiply that, So if you have nothing, then you're going to have 2 times of nothing.
All right. Enos, what are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I didn't necessarily hear men didn't have benefit. I heard that men take on a huge risk when they take on marriage, and that I wholeheartedly agree with. And her argument with that was that so many women get up at some point and say, I don't love you anymore, I want out. And we've seen that kind of happen over and over again as the divorce rates go up. I think that with her statement about women don't have what men actually want or bring to the table what men want, I think I see that at least on like in the dating market, as well as like on these YouTube streets as well, where men are saying we want X, Y, and Z, and women are saying I bring A, B, and C to the table, right? There's a misalignment. Men are saying, I want you to be feminine, I want you to be my piece, I want you to, get on board with the game plan. They're saying like these are the things that men are saying we're looking for, and women are turning around and saying, well, I have my education, I'm bringing this amount of money, and it seems like it's 2 lanes instead of people kind of going along the same thing. So I think people are just missing each other and not actually hearing each other out. And I think that's a huge reason as why relationships aren't leading to marriage.
All right, I'm gonna go to Hank in the Basement, then Kelly Connections. What are your thoughts about it, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what the lady said. I mean, as far as like when ladies talk about what money they bring to the table, are you going to allow that man to have control and access to that money? Is that going to be one of your reasons for bragging or being boastful about it? How much money? Yet the man won't have no access to that money, won't have no say so to that money. But you're going to brag about that? I care less. That's why you hear men say it all the time. Unless you give me access to that income, who cares? But as far as their risk, yeah, there's risk for men. Yet men are still willing to take these risks and still get married. Now, some people say it's not smart. Some people say, you probably should have had a family meeting about this shit with your parents, saying, hey, it's not a good investment. Because if things go wrong, then what? She's gonna be entitled to a damn near half of everything you got. So I can't disagree. I mean, I could definitely agree with what the young lady was saying. At the end of the day, man, I just want to I want to see black people get married. I would love to see that. That'd be the thing to do. But we know this is a new world, and they're not going off the old world, the traditional way, as we call it, the biblical way. We know they're not doing it that way. So they're going to do what they want to do. So if you're willing to sacrifice, ladies, for that man to do it, if that man asks you to, hey, you know, won't you come back on your social media? Ladies, are y'all willing to do that? Because that's part of being marriage is being agreeable, being cooperative, and that might be one of his requirements is to let social media go. He may be lax on the amount of makeup you use or the eyelashes and the weaves and the wig, but he said, "Baby, I just want you to cut down on social media. Are you willing on making those sacrifices? Are you willing on bringing create a one pot regimen? Would you be willing to do one pot? If we're going to we'll come together as one when we're married, so let's bring everything together. Don't say, "No, well, this is my money." No, 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 no. It's our money because we won. So if ladies are not willing to do that, then why should a man even get married?
All right. Kelly Connection, what are your thoughts about it, Kelly Connection?
My first immediate thought was it's crazy that stupid people get platforms. How many people viewed that? How many people got that message?
You asking me a question?
Yeah, how many people actually watched that? Hundreds of thousands.
Let's take a look at it.
Well, secondly, I do agree with what Ina said. That women do think that they're bringing certain things to the table, and it's not really what men are looking for. But I think the problem comes in that people do not understand the power and the purpose of each individual sex. If you actually took time to study the purpose of a man and the purpose of the woman, then you could better align. It's not in the narrative I dislike on both sides. Men are not just their money, and women are not just their bodies and their looks. So I think that narrative, that transactional narrative, gets played out a lot. But as far as what a woman brings to the table, it can be finances if that's what the man needs. Some men do need their wife to go to work. And I do agree with Hank. It should be one pot. It should be, this is our money. And sure, you can have your mad money on the side, but I do think what you bring in, we need to delegate this for the bills, and then you can have your side cash. I do think that's because that's what happens when two people become one. You're supposed to bring the money together. It's not separate. But to each his own. Everybody does their own thing. But as far as what a woman doesn't bring anything to the table, if a man was married and he had children with a woman and she decided to leave, he would have to hire 5 people to replace her. He would need a chef, a nanny, a maid, a chauffeur, and a prostitute. Or he would need to get married very quickly to replace that wife, because women do a lot. I just don't like that narrative that's always pushed. We don't bring anything to the table. You need to find out the purpose of a woman, and you need to utilize her in her purpose. That's what I have to say about that.
It's about 6. It was shared. It was the original post, and then it was shared from a blog. So about almost 7 million views.
Yeah, but Kelly, what you saying? Don't that go the same for a woman? But yet y'all the first one to sit there and say, "I don't need a man."
See, again, this is not something I'm familiar with. All the people in my lives that I'm aware of are married. My mother and father got married, and they said divorce is not an option. And JR can attest to it. He just had a chance to speak with my mother. Divorce is not option. Once we get married and we go this route, this is it. We work it out. We figure it out. We do this together. A lot of people aren't doing that. That's not the norm. I call this the age of the trial marriage. Like, oh, this one didn't work. I'll try these pair of pants on. It didn't work. Let me try these on. And like, people are now like possessions. They're not now like items. They're not human beings anymore. So relationships aren't held to that standard anymore, unfortunately. But my parents negotiated. There was no negotiating divorce. It was an option. When they got married, that was it. They were married for 38 years until my dad passed away. So That's what I know as far as marriage. And the reason I didn't get married early, because I don't want to marry the wrong person. I want to do it right. When I get married, I want it to be a one-time thing, and that's it. I want to do it for life. And I want to be that one person, just he and I, for the rest of our lives, no other person. And I don't think that's something you just do with anybody. That's special. And it's a one-time thing, in my opinion.
But you were saying that that a man would have to hire 5 people. Why would he have to hire 5 people?
Like if you had children,
Yes.
you would need someone to cook, clean,
No, you don't. Man
watch
could
the
cook and
kids,
clean. He can
chauffeur.
watch all those things a man can do.
I'm saying these are all the things that the
Just like
woman
that
does do.
but just like
that-
that overly independent mother could do the same thing, a man could do the same thing. There's no difference.
Okay,
Now, the
but
only
these are
thing I
things that
can't
the
do
woman.
that you can do is nurse a child. I
But
couldn't nurse a child, but I could
but
feed a child.
these are things that the woman does, and if you don't have anyone there to do it, you do have to take that on as your own responsibility. Yes.
You got to do that regardless.
So I want to jump in on this because I think sometimes we conflate things because there are people who are very well off where the woman still hires other people to do that job. It's not necessarily the fact that it's a woman's work, but what it is that a woman brings to the table is that she increases his decisional capacity. He now no longer has to worry about those things. It's not that he's not capable or that he wouldn't do it if he was on his own. It's that I can now take this off of your plate so that you can expand what it is that your purpose is, what you're focused on, right? That's what a woman's role is. It isn't the domestic duties because you can offload that if you need to. And if you're able to, and most people who are able to do it, right? It's that you no longer have to worry about this person doing it. You no longer have to worry about whether the maid has been paid on time, whether she's taking the things that are in the house, whether she's doing her job properly. You don't have to worry about whether the cook that you've hired or the chef that you've hired fits the dietary restrictions or fits your health goals that you're looking for. Somebody has now taken that responsibility off of your plate and is now managing it so that you can go further in your career, that you can make more money, that you can put in those extra hours if need be. That's somebody who is taking care of your kids when you are not there and explaining, daddy's doing this for us, for our family, so that we can go on those vacations that we all enjoyed going on, right? That's really what a woman's goal is, what a woman's role is. And I think sometimes we conflate the tasks with what the job is. Every job title has its duties and responsibilities, but that doesn't mean that the what it is that they're accomplishing is strictly restricted to their duties and responsibilities. It's bigger than that.
I want to say this. We say the beginning of it high risk, but there also is high reward. We always leave out that second part for some strange YouTube reason, but high risk, high reward. And that's like a business. We could say most businesses fail. That's true. High risk, high rewards. The ones that make it, they make it big and they're great businesses. But I'm not going to say, I'm never going to start a business and have people I'm working with to start this business and make it successful because most of them fail. It doesn't make logical sense. If you don't want to do it, okay, but going on YouTube and saying how much of a risk it is, we know the risk, we know the statistics, we know the numbers. I don't think that that's why you shouldn't try something. I mean, most people are average. I'm not going to say, oh, most people are average, so I'm going to be average just because. I mean, it's your life. Choose to live it how you want, but I'm never striving for average or below average in my life. Go ahead.
All right, Bruiser, you haven't spoken on this, sir. Go ahead. Somebody in the chat said that you're finally not sitting in the dark too, so I think it's appreciated that you came to light, Bruiser.
That's because it's Sunday.
Yes, sir. Sunday. Yep. So women are beginning to come to the table with their certs, degrees, and student loans. We aren't asking you to bring these common, tangible things. I mean, these are very masculine things that we are already accommodating for. But in most cases, these women aren't willing, to quit their careers and come work for a husband part-time. So that is where men are seeing that she has nothing to bring to the table that isn't already there. I mean, the careers and degrees women are choosing rarely relates to how to be a wife or a mother. So you got to understand what a man wants in marriage and why he feels this way. You know, coming to the table with something intangible like delicacy, you know, being fit, fertile, you know, healthy, nurturing, you know, some sense of gracefulness and being submissive, you know, the will to set aside, you know, your individual happiness for the sake of the family. Those are things that men are looking for whenever we come to the table. Because women are more modernized and they're more focused on their own happiness and attention and clout and all these other things. It's really hard for her to think and say, hey, look, how do I become a wife or a mother? You know, what are the things, what is the path I need to take to get there? The path they're taking to get there is all based on individualism. And when it's time to come to the table, now we got to try to revamp you. Why don't we got to try to reorganize or modify you? And a lot of times you've been passed from man to man to man, and you're eager to want to be able to do that again because you don't want to get hurt again or for something like that. But it's better off you would have took this approach before you even began dating. So it's the world we live in.
All right. Everybody had a chance to speak on it. Want to add something to it? Going once. Going twice. So, to the guy with the
Oh, my fault.
Did you have a chance to speak on it, JR?
I've been speaking the entire time.
I meant on this particular topic. I didn't know.
Yeah. Let me do what y'all do. Just start reading at the bottom. Do women don't have anything? Oh yeah. So I agree with Jay. Short and simple, short and sweet.
I agree with Jay too.